All right, I'm in a gem trial with Brad Bernhard. Brad is the corn technical lead for the East. Correct, Brad?
Yep, corn technical product lead for the East.
Okay, so we got 4 hybrids in this trial, 4 different populations, 33,000, 35, 37, and 39 with 14X81, 12U11, 17X12, and 13M31. So we're just gonna walk through this and kind of talk over what's going on in the trial at this time. Planted May 11th, very intensely managed with starter, and really trying to see what we can get out of the hybrids. So right here we got 14X81 at 33,000.
Yeah, one thing we're noticing at the lower end of our population scheme here is we see quite a bit of tillering, like on this corn plant here. So, tillering means the corn plant's really happy, but also tillering means that you may not have had enough population out there. So, as we move down to the higher populations, we'll look and see how much tillering we've got at the higher seeding rate there.
When you say the tillering means they're happy, that means they're taking some nutrients from what they would have used and giving it to something else because they don't really need it.
Yep, they got an abundance of nutrients and water, so very happy plants.
Yep. What else you seeing in this lower population?
Well, we've got a pretty good stand here. It's been a very highly managed location, have good moisture. Emergence looked like it was pretty good, pretty even throughout. So it'll be a really good trial. See what the results are at the end of the season. I think you can learn quite a bit between the managements and the populations in this trial.
Got a 12U11 and 13M31, both at 33,000 here. This is the split. Just one thing we're seeing, 12U11 has awesome vigor, very rapid growth, gets to be, knee to waist high about as quickly as anything that I've seen in our portfolio.
Yeah, both of these hybrids here, like the highly productive acre, probably one of the bigger differences between them is that 13M tends to have a much better plant health overall compared to 12U11. This one really benefits from that fungicide, not only from a disease control aspect, but just overall plant health aspect as well.
What are we seeing on tillers for both of these? I think you can see pretty easy 12U11 has just a bigger stalk than what some of the 14X and 13M have right now.
Yeah, I mean, 12U11 is well known for always being the first out of the ground, always very good on emergence and then also vigor. So, after that V2 growth stage, really takes off and you can pick it out in every plot.
It's always almost the greenest thing in the plot too. Seems like you can see the sun shine off of 13M and 14X just a little differently than 12U11. This is 17X12, a new 117-day hybrid in trials this year. It's commercial, but not full commercial, so it's just in FET plots and these gem and pusher trials. Pretty good out of the ground, pretty good vigor too to get to V5, V6. Likely not as good as 12U11, but very uniform looking right now.
Yeah, full season hybrid for sure. 17X, what I've been seeing out of the ground, it's right about at average, but always uniform, and that's really the key when it comes to emergence. Now, after that V2 growth stage, this is when this one really takes off, and you really start seeing that vigor on this hybrid. It really catches up to everything else, and you can see here, very very good stand, very good looking hybrid early in the season.
Yeah, so you can see 12U11's right there next to it. So just do a little comparison. It's close, but it's not quite to 12U11 stage. And then the tillering, the stalks look a lot like what 12U11 would. Pretty big stalks. Don't see a whole lot of tillering, do you, Brad?
No, not nearly as much. There's a couple there, but not nearly as much as what we had seen over there in 14X.
We're at the other side of the trial in the higher populations. 12U11, 39,000. 14X81, 39,000. Two somewhat similar hybrids as far as high yield and high management, but obviously 12U11 quite a bit bigger than 14X at this point. 12U11 better out of the ground, but I mean 14X has really caught up to the vigor.
Yeah, like you said, for both of these hybrids, it's all about that top end yield potential. They both need a little bit more babied, than other hybrids, so both will benefit from the fungicide. Now that we're in the higher seeding rate here, 14X, you'll notice that we don't see the tillering that we did before. So still very healthy, good looking plants, but it'll be interesting to see at the end of the season, the lower pop with some tillering, much happier plants compared to the higher pop that may see a little bit more stress throughout the season. See how these hybrids handle that difference in population.
What are your thoughts on high population at these two hybrids? Which one do you think, all things considered, same management, we don't get any windstorms?
Yeah, I think both of these really probably top out at that moderate seeding rate. But when you're on this very fertile, highly managed soils, you can bump them up a little bit, 2,000 more than if you're in these higher yield environments, so push that plant as hard as you can.
Yeah. Well, I think very excited about what we can do here, and a lot of good things can happen here at this high population. We'll see, really test it to its limits.
Keep the moisture.
Yeah, keep raining. We got 17X12 and 13M31 at 39,000. Both pretty similar in growth right now, and I would also say pretty similar in emergence. They look about the same. Obviously 117 days, quite a bit later than 13M, but this 39,000 does look quite a bit different than 33,000 up the trial.
Yeah, much more density out here. These two hybrids, they both agronomically can handle the higher populations. They both have very good roots, very good stalks. So agronomically can handle the higher population. One thing that's unique about 13M, it is one of the few hybrids in our full RM lineup that is classified as semi-determinate ear. Most of them are semi-flex ear, so this one is a semi-determinate. So that's more of a determinate ear style. You're going to need to bump up the population a little bit on this hybrid compared to ones that have a little bit more flex to it. So it'll be really interesting to see the yield results from this trial, because again, we're at a very highly managed, highly productive farm here. We've got 4 different hybrids at 4 different seeding rates, so we can have that seeding rate curve in a high yield environment to see how these hybrids handle that population, and ultimately determine, hey, maybe these semi-determinate ears do need a little bit more population to maximize the yield potential compared to ones that are a little more semi-flex. Might be yield potential might top out at some of those lower populations that we have in this trial. So it'll be very interesting to see how far we can push these hybrids in this highly productive ground round.
Yeah. Anything else you're thinking maybe we could do in season with this that maybe take it to the next level as far as yield, or just what you're looking to see or learn from a trial like this?
Well, it'd be nice to apply fungicide across the whole thing, and if we want to get, depending on how the season goes and what kind of disease pressure we get, maybe if we're getting some heavy disease, maybe even a second application across half it, going crossways or something like that, so we can see if there is any benefit to a second application of fungicide in high disease pressure years in environments where we know we have high potential for good yields.
Yeah, I think that's definitely probably the next route we're going, and we're going to try to get some some foliar feed on, maybe some yield on later on, and just try to get to that next level of yield and see what we can get out of these hybrids. Just very excited about the trial, and thank you, Brad, for coming out and going through it with us, and keep going through the season. Hopefully we can have a successful year.
Yeah, and I just want to say, really appreciate all the cooperators that we work with that help us with all these trials, because they are very, very valuable for not only, you know, farmers, seed advisors, the agronomists, but even the product team as well. So
Yeah.
very valuable.
Yeah, I definitely echo that for Brad. It's hard to find these guys that want to do it and are wanting to learn too, and it's invaluable for us. So thank you, cooperators, and